The Dusty Horizon was an old ship. It made strange noises when it flew through space. The walls were dirty and the floors were cold. But Ethan Cole did not mind. He had worked on this ship for 6 years. It was his home. Ethan was 28 years old. He had brown hair and tired eyes. His hands were always covered in oil and dirt from fixing machines. He was the ship's mechanic. When something broke, he fixed it. When nothing broke, he found things to clean or improve. He liked his work. It was simple and honest. The Dusty Horizon was a salvage ship. It traveled to the far edges of human space and looked for broken ships, abandoned stations, and lost cargo. The crew would take anything valuable and sell it at trading stations. It was dangerous work, but it paid well. Captain Howard Grant ran the ship. He was an old man with gray hair and a thick beard. He had been flying ships since before Ethan was born. The captain was tough but fair. He treated his crew like family. There were 12 people on the Dusty Horizon. Ethan knew all of them well. They ate together, worked together, and told stories together. Life on a salvage ship was boring most of the time. The exciting moments came when they found something worth taking. On a cold Tuesday morning, the ship's sensors found something strange. There was a small vessel floating near the Kepler 442 system. It was not a human ship. The design was different. The metal was a color that Ethan had never seen before. Captain Grant called everyone to the bridge. They all looked at the image on the screen. "What is that?" asked Danny Park, the ship's pilot. He was a young man with quick hands and a nervous laugh. "I do not know," said the captain. "But we are going to find out." The Dusty Horizon moved closer to the strange vessel. It was small, about the size of a shuttle. There were no lights. There were no signals. It looked dead. Ethan put on his spacesuit and went outside with 2 other crew members. They cut through the hull of the strange ship and climbed inside. The air was thin and cold. Their flashlights showed empty rooms with strange writing on the walls. Then, Ethan heard a noise. It was soft, like breathing. He followed the sound to a small room at the back of the ship. There was a pod there, like an emergency escape pod. The glass was foggy, but he could see someone inside. "Captain," Ethan said into his radio, "there's someone here. They are alive." They brought the pod back to the Dusty Horizon. The whole crew gathered around as Ethan opened it. Inside was a woman. She was thin and weak. Her skin had a strange violet color, very light, like a faint shadow. Her hair was silver white and fell past her shoulders. When she opened her eyes, Ethan stopped breathing for a moment. Her eyes were gold. Not yellow, not brown, but pure gold, like coins or sunlight. She was afraid. She tried to move away from them, but she was too weak. She spoke words that no one understood. The ship's translator made strange sounds as it tried to figure out her language. "Easy," Ethan said softly. He held up his hands to show he meant no harm. "You are safe. We will not hurt you." She looked at him. Something in his voice seemed to calm her. She stopped struggling. Over the next few days, Ethan took care of her. He brought her food and water. He sat with her when she was scared. He showed her how to use the ship's translator so she could learn to speak English. She learned fast. Very fast. By the end of the first week, she could say simple sentences. By the end of the second week, she could have real conversations. She said her name was Nira. She said she was a refugee. Bad people in her home system wanted to hurt her, so she ran away. Her ship broke down and she almost died. She was very grateful that they saved her. Ethan believed her. Why would he not? She seemed so scared and so lost. She reminded him of a bird with a broken wing dot. As the weeks passed, Nira grew stronger. She started to help around the ship. She was smart and learned quickly. She helped Ethan in the engine room. She asked many questions about human machines and human customs. Why do you keep pictures of animals on your wall? She asked one day, pointing at a photo of a dog that Ethan had hung up. That was my dog, Ethan said. His name was Buddy. He lived with me when I was a child on New Montana. You miss him, Nira said. Yes, he died a long time ago, but I still miss him. Humans are strange, Nira said. You form deep connections with creatures that cannot even speak to you. Ethan laughed. I suppose we are strange, but those connections make us happy. Nira was quiet for a moment. I think that is beautiful, she said. Ethan looked at her. There was something in her eyes that he had not seen before. Something warm. The days turned into weeks. The weeks turned into months. Ethan and Nira spent more and more time together. They talked about everything. He told her about his childhood on the farming colony. He told her about his parents, who still lived there. He told her about his dream to one day own his own ship. She told him about her home, though she was always careful about the details. She said it was far away. She said it was very different from human worlds. She said she could never go back. Ethan noticed that she was happiest when she was with him. Her golden eyes would shine when he entered a room. Her laugh was like music. She made the old dirty ship feel like a palace. One night, they sat together in the observation room. Stars filled the window like diamonds on black cloth. Nira rested her head on Ethan's shoulder. I never thought I would feel safe again, she said quietly. But I feel safe with you. Ethan's heart beat faster. He turned to look at her. She was so beautiful. Her violet skin glowed softly in the starlight. Her golden eyes held a question. He kissed her. It was gentle and soft. When they pulled apart, she was smiling. Tears ran down her cheeks, but they were happy tears. I love you, she whispered. I love you too, he said. For 3 months, Ethan was the happiest man in the galaxy. He had found something he did not know he was looking for. He had found love in the most unexpected place. Then, one morning, he woke up and she was gone. Her bed was empty. Her things were missing. The only thing she left behind was a note, written in her careful handwriting. I am sorry. I cannot explain. Please do not look for me. What we had was real. I will never forget you. Goodbye, Ethan. He ran through the ship, calling her name. But she was not there. A small shuttle was missing from the cargo bay. She had left in the middle of the night without saying goodbye. Ethan stood in the empty shuttle bay for a long time. He read her note again and again. His hands were shaking. His heart was broken. He did not understand. Everything had been perfect. She said she loved him. Why would she leave? He spent the next 2 years searching for her. He visited dozens of planets. He asked hundreds of questions. He spent all his money and all his time trying to find the woman with violet skin and golden eyes. He found nothing. Eventually, he stopped looking. He accepted that Nira was gone and that he would never see her again. He took a job at Armstrong Station as a senior engineer. He built a new life. He tried to move on, but he never forgot her. Every night, when he looked at the stars, he thought about her. He wondered where she was. He wondered if she ever thought about him. He would carry that pain in his heart for 5 long years. 5 years passed since Nira disappeared. Ethan Cole was now 35 years old. He had more gray hairs than before. His eyes looked older. The pain of losing her had faded, but it never went away completely. It was always there, like a quiet shadow in his heart. He worked at Armstrong Station now. It was a large space station near Earth. Thousands of people lived and worked there. Ethan was a senior engineer. He led a team of 20 mechanics. They fixed ships, maintained systems, and kept the station running. It was good work. It kept him busy. When he was busy, he did not think about her as much. One morning, Everything changed. Ethan was eating breakfast in the station cafeteria when all the screens turned on at once. A message appeared. Emergency broadcast. Everyone stopped talking. Everyone looked at the screens. A woman in a military uniform appeared. She was a general from the United Earth Coalition. Her face was serious. Citizens of Earth and all human colonies, she said. We have received a transmission from beyond explored space. An alien civilization has made contact with us. They call themselves the Volanthi Dominion. The cafeteria went completely silent. Ethan put down his fork. His heart was beating fast. The Volanthi have requested formal diplomatic talks with humanity. The general continued. This is the most important moment in human history. We will share more information as it becomes available. Please remain calm. The screens went dark. Then the cafeteria exploded with noise. Everyone was talking at once. Some people were scared. Some people were excited. Some people were crying. Ethan sat very still. Aliens, real aliens. After centuries of searching the stars, humanity had finally found proof that they were not alone. Over the next few weeks, more information came out. The Volanthi Dominion was an ancient empire. They had existed for thousands of years. They controlled hundreds of planets across many star systems. Their technology was far more advanced than anything humans had. The Volanthi were humanoid. They looked similar to humans, but with some differences. Their skin had a violet tint. Their eyes were unusual colors. Their hair was often silver or white. When Ethan read this, his blood turned cold. Violet skin, unusual eyes, silver hair. That description sounded very familiar. He tried to push the thought away. It was impossible. There were probably millions of Volanthi. Nira being one of them did not mean anything special. She was just a refugee. She said so herself, but the doubt stayed in his mind like a splinter. The United Earth Coalition began preparing for the diplomatic meeting. They built a special station in neutral space. Human engineers and Volanthi technicians worked together to construct it. It was called Unity Station. Ethan did not expect to be involved. He was just an engineer at Armstrong Station. He had no political connections. He had no special skills for diplomacy. Then he received a message from an old friend. Captain Howard Grant appeared on his screen. The old man looked even older now. His beard was completely white, but his eyes were still sharp. Ethan, the captain said. I need you, Captain. What is going on? I am working as a technical advisor for the Coalition fleet. We are putting together a support team for the diplomatic mission. I want you on it. Ethan was surprised. May? Why me? Because you are the best engineer I have ever worked with. You stay calm under pressure. You solve problems that other people cannot even understand. And you know how to deal with things that are different and strange. Ethan thought about it. Going to Unity Station meant being close to the Volanthi. Part of him wanted to stay away. He was afraid of what he might discover. But another part of him needed to know the truth. Okay, he said. I will do it. 2 weeks later, Ethan arrived at Unity Station. It was enormous. The station was made of both human and Volanthi materials. Some sections looked familiar. Other sections had strange shapes and colors that hurt his eyes. His job was simple. He was part of the engineering support team. If something broke during the diplomatic talks, he and his team would fix it. He would stay in the background. He would not meet any important people, or so he thought. The day of the formal reception arrived. All the important diplomats from both sides would meet for the first time. Ethan and the other support staff were told to stand near the walls and stay quiet. They were there just in case something went wrong with the equipment. Ethan put on his best uniform. It was uncomfortable. He was used to wearing work clothes covered in oil. But this was a historic moment. He wanted to look presentable. The Great Hall was beautiful. It had tall windows that showed the stars outside. There were flowers and decorations from both human and Valanti cultures. Hundreds of people filled the room. Diplomats, generals, scientists, and officials from both species. Ethan stood near the back with the other engineers. He watched as coalition leaders took their positions. Everyone was nervous. Everyone was excited. Then the massive doors on the far side of the hall opened. The Valanti delegation entered. They wore beautiful robes in colors that Ethan had never seen before. They walked with perfect grace, like dancers. Their violet skin seemed to glow softly in the light. Their eyes were different colors. Red, silver, blue, gold. At the front of the delegation walked a woman. She wore the most beautiful robes of all. They were white and gold, covered in symbols that Ethan did not understand. A delicate crown sat on her head. Jewels sparkled around her neck. She was thin and elegant. Her hair was silver white and arranged in a complex style. Her skin had a soft violet glow. Her eyes were gold. Pure gold, like coins or sunlight. Ethan stopped breathing. It was Nira. His heart felt like it stopped. His hands began to shake. His vision became blurry. Everything around him seemed to disappear. He could only see her. She looked different. Her hair was styled instead of loose. She wore a crown instead of simple clothes. She walked like a queen instead of a scared refugee. But it was her. He would know her anywhere. He had dreamed of her face every night for 5 years. The woman, the princess, scanned the crowd as she walked. Her face was calm and composed. She looked like someone who had done this 1,000 times before. Then her eyes found him. She stopped walking. Her face changed completely. The calm mask broke apart. Her golden eyes went wide. Her mouth opened slightly. Her hands began to tremble. Tears filled her eyes. She stood there, frozen, staring at him across the crowded hall. Her attendants bumped into her from behind. They asked if she was okay. She did not answer them. Ethan stared back at her. His own eyes were wet. His chest was tight with pain and confusion and 100 other feelings he could not name. The girl he fell in love with now stood before him as a princess. And tears filled her eyes at his sight. For a long moment, nothing else existed. The crowd, the hall, the historic moment, all of it faded away. There was only Ethan and Nira, looking at each other across an impossible distance. Then she moved. She pushed past her guards. She ignored her attendants. She walked directly toward him, her tears now streaming down her face. The crowd gasped. Diplomats looked confused. Coalition officials did not know what to do. She stopped in front of him. She was close enough to touch, close enough to kiss. "Ethan," she said. Her voice was the same voice he remembered. The voice that had told him she loved him. The voice that had said goodbye. "Nira," he said. His voice cracked. "What is happening? Who are you?" She took a shaky breath. More tears fell from her golden eyes. "I am Princess Naranthia Velsorth," she said, "third heir to the Valanti throne. And I have thought about you every single day for 7 years." The hall erupted into chaos around them. Guards shouted. Diplomats argued. The historic first meeting was falling apart, but Ethan did not care. He could not look away from her face. The face of the woman he loved. The face of a stranger. The face of a princess. He had so many questions. He had so much anger. He had so much pain that looking into her golden eyes, seeing her tears, hearing her voice, he felt something else too. He felt hope. The great hall was in chaos. Valanthi guards surrounded Princess Naranthia. Coalition security officers moved toward Ethan. Diplomats from both sides shouted at each other in confusion. "What is the meaning of this?" demanded a tall Volanthi official. He wore dark robes and had an angry face. "The princess has broken all protocol. This is an insult to our empire." "We do not understand what is happening," said a coalition diplomat. "Our engineer has done nothing wrong. He was simply standing where he was assigned." The arguments grew louder. The historic first meeting was falling apart before it had even started. Centuries of human dreams about alien contact were being destroyed by confusion and anger. Narantia stood in the middle of it all. Tears still ran down her face. She had not looked away from Ethan. Her guards kept trying to pull her back, but she would not move. Then an old voice cut through the noise. "Everyone, please calm down." Captain Howard Grant stepped forward. His white beard made him look wise and trustworthy. His voice was calm and clear. People stopped shouting to listen. "My name is Howard Grant," he said. "I am a technical advisor to the Coalition fleet. I believe I can explain what is happening here." The Volanthi official looked at him suspiciously. "Speak then." 7 years ago, my ship found a damaged alien vessel in deep space. Inside was a woman. She was hurt and alone. We saved her life. She stayed with us for 3 months. During that time, she and this engineer, Ethan Cole, became close. The hall went quiet. Everyone was listening now. She told us her name was Nira. She said she was a refugee fleeing persecution. She never told us who she really was. Then one day, she disappeared without warning. Howard looked at Narantia with kind eyes. I believe the princess and Ethan simply recognized each other. This is not a political matter. It is a personal one. Perhaps a private conversation would help clear things up. The Volanthi official thought about this. He looked at Narantia, then at Ethan, then back at Howard. "Very well," he said finally. "The princess and this human will be given a private room to speak. Guards from both sides will wait outside. But this must be resolved quickly. We have important work to do." Ethan and Narantia were led to a small conference room. The door closed behind them. Through the windows, they could see guards watching from outside. They were alone for the first time in 7 years. Narantia stood on one side of the room. Ethan stood on the other. The silence between them was heavy. Neither knew how to start. Finally, Ethan spoke. His voice was rough with emotion. "You lied to me." Narantia closed her eyes. "Yes, you told me you were a refugee. You told me bad people were chasing you. You made me believe you were just a scared woman who needed help. I know. And the whole time, you were a princess. An alien princess from an empire we did not even know existed." Narantia opened her eyes. They were still wet with tears. "Yes, I lied about who I was. But I never lied about how I felt. Every moment we shared was real. Every word of love I spoke was true." Ethan felt his anger rise. "Then why did you leave? Why did you disappear without saying goodbye? Do you know what that did to me? I spent 2 years searching for you. I spent all my money. I went to dozens of planets. I thought you were dead. I thought you were hurt. I thought 100 terrible things." His voice cracked. "And then I gave up. I accepted that you were gone. I tried to forget you, but I could not. Every night, I saw your face. Every morning, I woke up with your name in my heart." Narantia was crying again. "I am so sorry, Ethan. I am so sorry. You have to believe me. Leaving you was the hardest thing I have ever done." "Then why did you do it?" She took a deep breath. She walked to a chair and sat down. She looked very tired, like she was carrying a heavy weight. "My mother was the empress of the Lanthi Dominion. She was powerful and cruel. She arranged marriages for all her children to strengthen political alliances. When I was young, she chose a husband for me. His name was Lord Varantis. He was rich and connected, but he was also cruel. He hurt people for pleasure. I knew that if I married him, my life would be over. Ethan listened. His anger began to fade, replaced by something else. Sadness, maybe. Or understanding. So I ran away, Narantia continued. I stole a small ship and flew as far as I could. I did not have a plan. I just wanted to escape. My ship broke down in your space. I almost died. Then you found me. She looked at him with her golden eyes. You saved my life, Ethan. Not just my body, but my soul. You showed me kindness when I expected cruelty. You asked nothing from me. You just wanted to help. I had never met anyone like you before. And the 3 months we spent together? Ethan asked quietly. They were the happiest months of my life. I fell in love with you. Real love. Not political love or arranged love. I loved you because you were kind and funny and good. I loved you because you made me feel safe. Tears ran down her face again. I wanted to stay with you forever. I wanted to forget about my empire and my family and just be Nira, the woman who loved Ethan Cole. What changed? Narantia's face became hard. My family found me. They sent agents to track me down. They discovered where I was. They sent me a message. She paused. Her hands were shaking. They threatened to attack human colonies if I did not return. They said they would destroy your ship and everyone on it. They said they would kill you specifically. They showed me images of their warships. They were not bluffing. Ethan felt cold. They threatened to kill me? Yes, they knew about us. They knew I loved you. They used that against me. She stood up and walked toward him. She stopped close enough to touch. I could not let them hurt you. I could not let them hurt the other humans on your ship. I could not start a war. So I left. I went back to my family. I agreed to follow their rules. I did everything they asked. And Lord Varantis? Ethan asked. I refused to marry him. I told my mother I would kill myself before I let him touch me. She believed me. The marriage was canceled. Narantia reached out and took Ethan's hand. Her touch was warm and soft. It felt exactly like he remembered. For 7 years, I have lived in the palace. I have played the role of the obedient princess. I have smiled at people I hated. I have attended ceremonies that meant nothing to me. And every single night, I have thought about you. Ethan's anger was gone now. He understood. She had not abandoned him. She had saved him. She had given up her happiness to protect him. Your mother, he said? What happened to her? She died 2 years ago. My eldest brother, Thalric, is now emperor. He is not kind, but he is practical. The Volanthi faced threats from other empires. He decided that humanity could be a useful ally. He needed someone who understood humans to lead the diplomatic mission. She gave a small, sad smile. I volunteered. I told him I spent time among humans during my escape. I told him I learned their language and customs. I did not tell him about you. I just hoped that maybe, somehow, I would see you again. And here we are, Ethan said. Yes, here we are. They stood together in silence. The guards outside watched through the windows, but Ethan did not care. He only saw her. I should be angry at you, he said. Part of me is still angry. You lied to me. You left me. You broke my heart. I know. But I also understand why you did it. You were protecting me. You were protecting everyone. He squeezed her hand. I never stopped loving you, Nira, even when I tried to forget you. Even when I told myself you were gone forever. You were always there, in my heart. Narantia let out a small sob. I never stopped loving you either. They stood there, holding hands, looking at each other. 7 years of pain and loneliness between them. but also 7 years of love that had never died. "What do we do now?" Ethan asked. "You are a princess. I am just an engineer. Your empire and my people are trying to form an alliance. This is bigger than us." Naranthia wiped her tears. Her face became determined. "I do not know what happens next," she said. "But I know one thing. I am not going to lose you again. Whatever comes, we will face it together." She leaned forward and kissed him. It was soft and gentle, just like their first kiss on the dusty horizon. When they pulled apart, she was smiling. Together, Ethan agreed. Outside the room, history waited. Diplomats needed answers. Empires needed alliances. The future of two species hung in the balance. But for this one moment, none of that mattered. All that mattered was a mechanic and a princess who had found each other again after 7 long years. The negotiations continued for 6 months. There were good days and bad days. Sometimes the diplomats agreed on important points. Sometimes they argued for hours about small details. Sometimes it seemed like the whole alliance would fall apart. Ethan was no longer just an engineer. He had become an unofficial bridge between the two peoples. When Volanti delegates did not understand something about humans, they asked him. When human officials wanted to know how to avoid offending the Volanti, they consulted him. He spent long hours in meetings, explaining human customs and beliefs. He talked about why humans kept pets, why they celebrated birthdays, why they told jokes even in serious situations. The Volanti found these things strange, but interesting. "Your species wastes time on things that serve no practical purpose," said one Volanti advisor. "Games, stories, art, these things do not make you stronger or richer." "No," Ethan agreed. "But they make us happier. And happy people work harder and live longer. Maybe that is the practical purpose." The advisor thought about this for a long time. Eventually, she nodded. Narantia worked even harder. She moved between both sides, smoothing over disagreements and finding common ground. She translated not just words but ideas. She helped each species understand the other. Her brother, Emperor Thauric, eventually stopped demanding she return home. The alliance was becoming too important. Public opinion on both sides supported it. Even the Emperor had to accept reality. Lord Corvin and his conservative faction continued to oppose Narantia, but their influence was shrinking. More and more Volanti were interested in humanity. They wanted to learn about human music and art. They wanted to try human food. They wanted to understand the strange creatures who formed bonds so easily. Finally, after 6 months of work, the treaty was ready. It was called the Unity Accord. It established formal relations between the United Earth Coalition and the Volanti Dominion. Trade routes would open between human and Volanti space. Scientists would share knowledge and technology. Military forces would cooperate against common threats. But the treaty also included something that no one expected. On the morning of the signing ceremony, Naranthia made an announcement. "I will renounce my claim to the Volanti throne," she said. "I will remain in human space as a permanent ambassador. I will serve as a living bridge between our peoples." The hall gasped. This was unprecedented. A royal princess giving up her title? Living among aliens? It had never happened before. Lord Corvin looked pleased. With Naranthia gone, he would have more power at court. Emperor Thauric looked relieved. His troublesome sister would no longer be his problem. But most people, both human and Volanti, looked moved. The princess was sacrificing her position for peace. She was giving up everything to build a better future. When asked why, Naranthia gave a simple answer. "I found something more valuable than a crown. I found love, and I found hope. Those are worth more than any throne." The signing ceremony took place in the Great Hall of Unity Station. Thousands of people attended. Billions more watched through broadcasts. It was the most important moment in human history. Coalition President Maria Santos signed first. Then, Emperor Thalric signed through a holographic link from the Volanthi homeworld. When both signatures were complete, the hall erupted in applause. Then it was time for the final part of the ceremony. Narantia stepped forward. She no longer wore royal robes. She was dressed in a simple white dress. She had no crown, no jewels, no symbols of her former rank. Beside her stood Ethan. He wore a formal suit that still looked uncomfortable on him. His hair was slightly messy. His hands were nervous. They looked perfect together. Coalition Senior Diplomat Patricia Holmes stepped forward. She was a patient woman with kind eyes. She had worked on this treaty for months. Princess Naranthea, she said. No. Just Naranthea now. Do you have any words for this historic occasion? Naranthea smiled. She took Ethan's hand. 7 years ago, I ran from everything I knew. I was lost and alone and ready to die. A human man saved my life. He fed me, taught me his language, showed me kindness without asking anything in return. He made me believe that I deserved to be happy. She looked at Ethan. I left him to protect him. I spent 7 years regretting that decision. But today, standing here, I understand that everything happened as it needed to. The universe brought us together, then tore us apart, so that we could bring our peoples together. She turned to face the crowd. I am no longer a princess of the Volanthi Dominion. I am simply Nira, the woman who loves Ethan Cole. And I am proud to spend the rest of my life proving that love can bridge the distance between stars. The hall was silent for a moment. Then applause exploded. People cheered. Some cried. Both humans and Volanthi stood together, celebrating this new beginning. Ethan pulled Nira close and kissed her. He did not care about the cameras or the diplomats or the weight of history. He only cared about her. When they finally pulled apart. She was crying happy tears. I love you, she whispered. I love you too, he said. 20 years later. Ambassador Nira Cole stood at the observation window of Unity Station. The station had grown enormously over the decades. What started as a temporary meeting place was now a permanent city in space, home to millions of humans and Volanthi. Her hair was gray now. Her face had lines from years of smiling. But her golden eyes were still bright and beautiful. Beside her stood Ethan. Also older, also grayer, still making terrible jokes. Still the man she fell in love with on a salvage freighter, so many years ago. They were watching a ship. It was called the Horizon's Dream. A beautiful vessel built from both human and Volanthi technology. It was about to depart on the first joint exploration mission to the galactic core. No ship had ever gone so far. On board was their daughter. Lena Cole was 23 years old. She had her mother's golden eyes and her father's stubborn chin. She was brilliant and brave and ready to explore the unknown. She gets her recklessness from you, Nira said. Ethan smiled. And her stubbornness from you. They watched as the Horizon's Dream undocked from the station. Its engines glowed blue and gold. Slowly, gracefully, it began to move toward the stars. Nira felt Ethan's hand squeeze hers. We did good, he said quietly. She nodded. They had done more than good. They had helped build a new future. In the 20 years since the Unity Accord, everything had changed. Human and Volanthi ships flew together. Human and Volanthi families lived side by side. Children grew up learning both languages, both cultures. The two species were becoming one people. There were still problems, of course. There were still people on both sides who hated and feared the other. There were still arguments and conflicts and misunderstandings. Building a new world was hard work, but it was working. And it had all started with a mechanic, a princess, and a choice to believe in love. Nira leaned her head on Ethan's shoulder. just like she had done in the observation room of the dusty horizon so many years ago. "Thank you," she said. "For what?" "For saving me. For loving me. For never giving up on us." Ethan kissed the top of her head. "Thank you for coming back." Outside the window, the horizon's dream grew smaller and smaller, heading toward the center of the galaxy. Their daughter was carrying their legacy forward. She was proof that love could cross any distance, bridge any gap, overcome any obstacle. Humanity had taught the Volanthi how to hope again. The Volanthi had given humanity access to the stars. Together, they were stronger than either could be alone. This was the gift they gave each other. This was the future they built together. This was the bridge between stars, and it would last forever. The end. The news spread like fire through dry grass within hours of the reception. Everyone knew about Princess Naranthia and the human engineer. News channels on both sides broadcast the story. Social media exploded with opinions. Some people were angry. Some were confused. Some were fascinated. And everyone had questions. Coalition officials interviewed Ethan for 3 days. They asked about his time with Nira on the dusty horizon. They asked what she told him. They asked if she had shared any secrets about Volanthi technology or military strength. They asked if he had been spying for the aliens. "I did not even know she was an alien," Ethan said tiredly. "I thought she was human with an unusual appearance. She told me she was from a distant colony. I believed her." The officials looked at each other. They did not seem satisfied, but they could not prove he had done anything wrong. Meanwhile, Naranthia faced her own problems. Lord Corvin, the stern official who had been so angry during the reception, led a faction of Volanthi who opposed the alliance with humans. They called humanity primitive and dangerous. They said that the princess's relationship with a human proved she could not be trusted. "She's been contaminated," Lord Corvin said in a private meeting. "Her time among the humans has corrupted her mind. She should be removed from the diplomatic mission immediately." Other Volanthi disagreed. Some thought the connection between Naranthia and Ethan was interesting. It showed that Volanthi and humans could form real bonds. Maybe the alliance could work after all. The arguments went back and forth. The diplomatic mission stalled. Nobody knew what to do. Then Emperor Thalric sent a message from the Volanthi homeworld. His face appeared on screens throughout Unity Station. He was a tall man with cold eyes and silver hair. "Sister," he said, "you have embarrassed our family. You have embarrassed our empire. I command you to return home immediately. This mission is over." Naranthia watched the message in her quarters. Ethan stood beside her. Her face was pale but determined. "What are you going to do?" Ethan asked. She was quiet for a long moment. Then she stood up straight. Fire burned in her golden eyes. "I am going to fight." She requested a formal audience with both the coalition diplomats and the Volanthi delegation. It was unusual for a princess to speak directly instead of through officials. Some people thought she should be refused. But everyone was curious. They wanted to hear what she had to say. The great hall was filled again, just like the day of the reception. This time, there were cameras broadcasting to both civilizations. Billions of humans in Volanthi would see this moment. Naranthia walked to the center of the hall. She wore simple white robes instead of her royal clothing. She had no crown on her head. She looked like herself, not like a princess. She spoke in English first, then repeated her words in Volanthi. "My name is Naranthia Velsorth. I am a princess of the Volanthi Dominion, and I am here to tell you the truth." The hall was silent. Everyone was listening. 7 years ago, I ran away from my home. My mother, the Empress, had arranged a marriage for me to a cruel man. I refused to accept that future, so I stole a ship and flew into the unknown. She paused. Her voice was steady. My ship broke down in human space. I almost died. Then a salvage ship called the Dusty Horizon found me. The crew took me in. They fed me, healed me, and treated me with kindness. They did not know I was Velanti. They did not care. They simply saw a person who needed help. She looked at Ethan, who stood near the back of the hall. One of them was a mechanic named Ethan Cole. He spent weeks taking care of me. He taught me his language. He shared his food and his stories. He never asked for anything in return. Her voice became softer. I fell in love with him. Not because he was powerful or worthy or important. I fell in love with him because he was kind. Because he saw me as a person, not as a princess or a stranger. He showed me that love does not need a reason. It just is. Murmurs spread through the hall. Some Velanti looked uncomfortable. Many humans looked moved. I had to leave him to protect him from my family. I spent 7 years regretting that decision. But now, standing here, I realized something important. She turned to face the Velanti delegation directly. My people have forgotten how to hope. We have been an empire for thousands of years. We have conquered worlds. We have built great cities. But somewhere along the way, we lost something precious. We stopped believing that tomorrow could be better than today. Lord Corvin's face was red with anger, but he did not interrupt. Humans are different. They are young and messy and sometimes foolish. But they have something we have lost. They dream. They hope. They believe in possibility. They form bonds with creatures that cannot even speak to them, just because those bonds make them happy. She smiled slightly. When I lived among them, I saw things that amazed me. A father teaching his son to catch a ball. Friends laughing at jokes that were not even funny. A mechanic keeping a picture of a dead dog because the memory brought him comfort. Small moments of joy and connection that mean everything. Her voice grew stronger. If the Velanti Dominion is to survive the challenges ahead, we must learn from humanity. We must remember how to hope. We must remember how to love. We must remember that life is not just about power and politics. It is about connection. It is about caring for each other. She faced the cameras. I know my brother wants me to return home. I know some of my people think I am a disgrace. But I believe in this alliance. I believe that humans and Velanti can help each other become better. And I am willing to fight for that belief. She finished speaking. The hall was completely silent. Then something unexpected happened. A human diplomat started clapping. Then another. Then another. Soon, the entire human side of the hall was applauding. Some people were crying. Some were cheering. The Velanti side was more divided. Some looked angry, but others looked thoughtful. A few even joined the applause. The broadcast ended. The speech was over, but its effects were just beginning. On Earth and across human colonies, people talked about Princess Naranthea. They loved her story. They loved that she had fallen for an ordinary man. They loved that she spoke about hope and connection. Sales of violet-colored clothing increased dramatically. Children started naming their pets Nira. On Velanti worlds, the reaction was more complicated. Conservative groups condemned the princess. They said she had betrayed her people. But younger Velanti saw things differently. They were tired of the old ways. They wanted change. Naranthea's speech inspired them. Emperor Thalric was furious. He threatened to recall the delegation and cancel the alliance. But his advisors warned him that public opinion was shifting. Many Velanti supported their princess. Starting a fight with humans now would be unpopular. The emperor decided to wait and see what happened. Meanwhile, Ethan found his own life completely changed. Reporters followed him everywhere. They wanted to know everything about his relationship with the princess. How did they meet? What was their first date like? Did he know she was royalty? What was he going to do now? He tried to avoid the attention, but it was impossible. He was famous now. The man who had captured the heart of an alien princess. The ordinary human who had changed history. One night, he managed to escape the crowds and meet Narration in a quiet part of the station. They stood by a window, looking at the stars. "Everything has become so complicated," Ethan said. "I was just an engineer. Now I am on every news channel in 2 civilizations." Narration laughed softly. "I know the feeling. I was born into this, but it still surprises me sometimes." She took his hand. "Are you okay?" "I know this is not the life you wanted." Ethan thought about it. He had wanted a simple life. A ship of his own. Maybe a family someday. He had never wanted fame or attention or complicated politics. But then he looked at her. Her golden eyes. Her soft smile. The way she made him feel complete. "I am okay," he said. "As long as I have you." She leaned her head on his shoulder. "Your speech was incredible," Ethan said. "You changed a lot of minds today." "I hope so." "I meant every word. The part about humans being messy and sometimes foolish?" She laughed. "Especially that part." They stood together in comfortable silence. Outside the window, ships from both civilizations came and went. History was being made. Alliances were being formed. The future of 2 species was being decided. But for Ethan and Narration, this moment was simple. 2 people in love, holding hands, watching the stars. Whatever came next, they would face it together.